Donnie and Dolly, the team on Check, presented by Able Auctions. If you have assets, inventory, or equipment you need to sell, email sales@ableauctions.ca. We're also presented by King of Floors, your vinyl, laminate, and engineered flooring superstore. A reminder that Is It Just Me will be coming up in a couple of segments. You can text us into the Delaney's OK Tire in Langley inbox. The number there, 604-294-94. Jim Benning and Travis Green still speaking as we speak, but we felt it necessary to comment on a few things that Jim, especially Jim and Travis, had to say. And for those of you just tuning in, not aware of it, Travis Green with a multi-year contract extension from the Vancouver Canucks, finally believed to be 2 years, lining up with Jim Benning's contract. Here's what stuck out for me. Well, first of all, right off the bat, we talked about this earlier. Is Jim going to take any responsibility? Accountability for what happened this season. And he did right off the hop.
He has to. This is year 7, and you're in 24th place in the National Hockey League standings after year 7. You have to take it.
Okay, and the other thing that really hit home, because we haven't heard this before, he talked about exploring free agency. Lord knows there's a lot of people out there in Canuck Nation who don't want that to happen given the history of this particular regime. Trades, but he also mentioned, and I can't remember, guys, help me out. Our great customers can help us out as well. I can't remember him admitting that they're going to explore buyouts, which is what he said there.
Yeah, he did. He said this summer he's going to be aggressive. We're looking at trades, free agency, and buyouts. All three. Mm-hmm. And when you look at buyouts, they're obvious candidates. There's not 20 candidates, Don. There's 3 or 4. They're obviously Eriksson, Beagle, Roussel, and Jake Virtanen. For me, those are the 4 that you would look at in a buyout.
It's not as simple as just taking their salary and eliminating it.
No.
You still get punished for that bad contract in a year or 2 going forward. So, again, it's not as simple as saying, okay, well, Louis Eriksson, that's $6 million off the books. No. You do get somewhat of a break, but not the break that most people think. I'm not smart enough to figure everything out here. It's all on cap friendly. Yeah. But, you look at the buyout situation, and I would imagine – for owners, it hurts. It hurts in the pocketbook because you're dishing out money for nothing. Yeah. You're not getting anything. You're not getting a performance in return. Also, there's somewhat of an embarrassment factor. Yeah. You bucked up for somebody and it didn't work out. But at some point, you just have to say to yourself, hey, look, Louis doesn't play in any games anymore. Yeah. We can't be paying this guy anything. We need some cap room. Get rid of him.
Yeah, get rid of him. And Spooner, they're still. I think Spooner's off the books this year. That was a Sam.
He was a buyout.
That was a Sam Gagner mistake. The Gagner mistake never gets talked about in this market, but it was just as bad as all the others. Spooner's getting off. Luongo's going to be off soon, so they're going to have some. Not this year, Donnie, but I think in the next 1 to 2 years they're going to have a lot of good cap space to play with. As soon as you get rid of all these bad deals.
Yeah. Louis Eriksson, a long time coming. And
6 years.
6 years. And he's got a year left in his contract. They would be punished next year. Again, they'd have some cap room if they got rid of him, but even in the year after that as well. Let me just go through something here. For people who don't think buyouts happen, I know most people know what goes on around the National Hockey League. We remember Wade Redden with the New York Rangers. I mean, ridiculous amount of money for not playing or playing.
And he went to Hartford.
American Hockey League, yeah.
He went to Hartford.
Well, there's the famous story or infamous story about Wade Redden walking into the Hartford dressing room, wherever it was with the Rangers at the time,
Hartford,
and saying, "I don't like the weight equipment. It's not good enough." And he bought his teammates new equipment. I think I've got this right.
He was making $6
for their
million.
fitness center.
He was making $6 million a year.
Yeah. Okay. Corey Schneider got bought out recently. Yeah. I'm just going through a list here. Corey Schneider, $8 million. The New Jersey Devils gave up to buy out Corey Schneider. Yeah. Kyle Turris, you know what he was owed? I think it was something like $16 million from Nashville. They bought him out. Off he goes to Edmonton. Carl Alsner, mentioning a couple of local guys here, $3.5 million he bought out by the Montreal Canadiens. So this sort of thing does happen. I think it's, to me, if you're worried about the embarrassment and how bad you look, I think it's more embarrassing to keep a guy around when it's not when it's not working. Admit your mistake, move on, give yourself some cap space, and get somebody in there that can help.
And he can't buy anyone out until he's got approval from the ownership. So give the ownership a little bit of credit here. They've told him, look, we'll buy out a player or two to get some relief on the cap. Maybe use some of those savings, go on the free agent market, get a player. Nothing major, no 6x6, none of that stuff, and go see if you can grab somebody.
Okay. Also, we didn't run it, but after we went off air, Jim Benning and Travis Green were still talking. I think they're still talking now, Ryan? Have I got that right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so they went on to talk about Travis's staff and that it's still being evaluated. Same thing goes with the hockey operations department.
Everybody.
Ryan, did they say anything about John Weisbrod, about the Sedins, Jeff Courtnall, anything like that?
No, they basically said, hey, the season just ended. We're evaluating. Travis was priority one, and then they're now evaluating the remainder of the staff and the hockey ops group, and that's kind of where they left it. They also have Benning has just said, confirming that there are currently no players that have asked for a trade. So, because that's been out there now, whether or not
again, this is under the category of what is he going to say?
Right, but that's what he has just said. So,
if you're going to ask for a trade, you're probably going to do it in a couple of weeks when things die down, all the info. I said, I've talked to a million agents in the last few days. Nobody is claiming that their guys asked for a trade. So, are there players unhappy? Yes.
You can't say that, though.
Why?
Well, as an agent or a GM, you can't say this guy wants out.
Yeah, this guy. But
because you're decreasing his value at that point.
But it's not hard to figure out who's unhappy. It's not hard to figure out.
What do you make of Nate Schmidt?
Well, Nate Schmidt is Nate Schmidt. He came from Vegas, where he had.
We already talked about this.
Okay. It's just, if Nate Schmidt asks for a trade, then move him. Do you want a guy in your dressing room that doesn't want to be there? No.
We're just assuming he's unhappy because he wasn't available yesterday. There's maybe a whole lot more
to do with it.
I don't know. He's the only regular that wasn't on his
He's been in Vancouver 1 year, and he's got to do the post game.
No, JT was on
the
post game, right? It's the same thing. Hughes was on post game from Calgary.
Excusable.
Right. So he's the only real regular.
I would want my core to do the year-end interviews. I would want my core to do it.
Yeah, but Nate Schmidt's a guy with a contract that's quite lengthy that you acquired. You got to assume he's part of the core, right? You got to assume he's a guy that they're thinking of as part of the core.
Well, right, look at their defense. I'm telling you right now.
Absolutely.
Love him or hate him, Nate Schmidt is part of the core.
For sure.
He has to be. They're thin there. They're, could lose Edler. Absolutely. Plus, Nate Schmidt can play either side.